All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. It looks like we have some more participants that just logged in. So thank you for being with us here today at JA Inspire. I wanted to remind everyone that we do have the Q&A feature up and running. So you will be able to answer or ask questions to our presenter, and then I'll be monitoring those, and we'll save time for those questions at the end of the presentation. So I would like to welcome our presenter today, Manny Felix. He is CEO and founder of AZ Cyber Initiative. He is also a Junior Achievement alumni. So we are really excited to have him here today talking about cyber and digital literacy. Take it away, Manny.
Thank you so much, Cindy, and good morning, everyone. As Cindy mentioned, her and I got a chance to connect a couple of weeks ago, and during that conversation, it so happened that I told her a story that one of the reasons why AZ Cyber and what I do with the nonprofit really was inspired by one of my volunteer opportunities with Junior Achievement. It was during that time that I realized that cybersecurity and IT digital literacy is really important in all jobs. But many of you are probably in high school, maybe even middle school right now, and you're often asked to start thinking about your careers and your futures, right? But it's not until you're in college that you actually start to do some real life or real work development towards it. You start picking your major, whether you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, an educator in higher ed, or if you want to go into business. That's when you really start to, just quote unquote, decide what you want to do with the rest of your life. But in fact, I think that there's a lot of missed opportunities if we wait until you're in college to provide you with some of these learning opportunities, whether it's, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's hands-on, whether it's developing public speaking skills. All of these are essential to your career and to your future. And waiting until college is not the answer anymore. We have to actually start providing you with these opportunities so you can start doing a lot more career exploration, understanding of what a day-to-day looks like, and hopefully find ways to get paid while doing some of these programs and internships and learning opportunities that can be helpful towards your future. And that's a little bit of how AZ Cyber came about. So again, as Cindy mentioned, my name is Manny Felix. I'm the founder and the CEO of AZ Cyber Initiative. And I'll go to the next slide. A little bit about myself. I'm actually from Nogales, Arizona. I was born in Tucson, but then I moved to Mexico for a couple of years shortly thereafter. And then I moved back to the US and started going to middle school in Nogales, Arizona. I don't know if anyone that is logged in is from Nogales as well, but went through middle school and high school from there. And shortly thereafter moved back to Tucson. Oh, I see a hand raise. Maybe Jessica, you're from Nogales. That's awesome. Always love to see that there's some Nogales representation. And I'll get a little bit more into that later on. When I finished high school, I went to the University of Arizona, where I majored in political science and Spanish legal translation and interpretation. My goals after undergrad, after going to the U of A, were to go to law school because I wanted to find ways to give back to community and to people, students that I felt like I greatly benefited from. So I wanted to find ways to give back in through law. That hasn't been the outcome of, I'm not a lawyer right now, but that desire to give back to my community and to give back to people has still maintained, right? It has always been there. And through some of the jobs that I was involved with after I graduated from the University of Arizona, I joined the United States Navy in their cryptologic department. So what that is basically protecting cybersecurity networks within the Navy. That's what I started doing right when I graduated. And then I moved to Washington, D.C., where I still was in a cyber-related role supporting the intelligence community. So think of some of your government agencies like Department of Defense, the FBI, CIA, Some of those agencies are all part of the intelligence community, and I was helping support some of those agencies themselves from a cyber capacity. Then I moved to New York and worked for a large consulting company in their cyber practice as well. There's a common theme amongst all these jobs that I've had in the past, and they're all somewhat cyber related or cyber adjacent, right? And through all of those experiences, that's when I realized that cyber and digital literacy, just understanding IT, the consequences of having your data and your information out there on social media and having hackers do something bad with that information, right? There's a lot of risk, and there's a lot of companies that are hiring people with these cyber skills and providing them with high earning jobs and salaries. There's a lot of career progression and opportunity to promote within this industry. And I thought, I kind of wish I would have known about this when I was in high school, not when I was in college, because then perhaps if I'm somehow just gone into this cyber industry, maybe I would have been much further ahead in my career if I had been able to start in high school. And that's how AZ Cyber truly came about, right? It's connecting those dots of these experiences. You can have them while you're in high school. You can have awareness of what job path you'd want to do as early as high school. And let me tell you, you may think that, let me go to the next slide, but you may think that maybe you think cybersecurity or IT is not the industry for me, and that's completely fine. I think that's going to happen with many people, but think about it from this way. Any job that requires technology or is somehow connected to technology, nowadays, those students that want to become doctors, everything that they're learning from the body and working with different tissues, different muscles and bones, a lot of that is studied through technology. They can do 3D, they do virtual reality. That's all connected to technology, to the internet. There's a lot of health devices that are connected to the internet. Anything that is somehow connected to the internet, your phones, devices, your school computers, that means that there's a cybersecurity component to it. There's a cyber risk. That means that a hacker can access that information and that data and do something bad with it. And so this is my call to action to you all, whether you recognize that you're wanting to be or that you don't want to be a cyber professional, somehow you're going to, or you should, it would be beneficial to you to just become cyber and digital aware, right? Of all the risks and all the opportunities as well that are within these industries. And that's what we aim to do with AZ Cyber Initiative. We want to provide you with opportunities to learn more about these professions, about how you can be more cyber aware and digital aware, learn about what it means to be safe online and safe with your digital footprint. So what that means is basically all the information that you put out there, that you use your email, your credit card information to make online purchases, on your social media, you put where you go to school and what you're doing after school, you're going to soccer practice, volleyball practice. All of that information is helping hackers or helping cyber criminals build profiles on individuals, and then they use that information and those profiles to then reach out to you saying, hey, this is Jamie, this is your soccer coach, make sure that you have practice, don't forget you have to fill out this form, click on this link. They know that you have soccer, that practice, and know that you have your coach's name, whatever that their name is, and they make it seem credible, right? So it's good to be aware of all the implications and risks that are out there already currently, of how people are doing damaging things through cybersecurity. And that's why it's on us, really on the youth, on all of you that are here today, to protect your parents and to protect your grandparents, because technology is really the way that we grew up. Our parents and our grandparents didn't have that same luxury, but for us, we don't know anything else. We're not separated from technology at all. In fact, all jobs and everything we do is somehow connected to our phones and to the internet and to our computers. And that means that cyber isn't going to go away. In fact, it's only going to increase. And it's a good time for us to get on top of that and be aware of the opportunities again and the risks that come with that. And we want to, through AZ Cyber, we want to make sure that we provide awareness of all those career opportunities. We want to connect your interests and your skills into careers in this field that may be of interest to you, right? I think, again, there's the common misconception that because if you're doing cyber and IT, that means you're working for a cyber and IT company. That's not true at all. In fact, most of the jobs in cyber and IT are working for other types of jobs. You can be working for a university, you can be working for a hospital, you can be working for a research institution, you can be working for Amazon, right? Not necessarily an IT or a cyber company, but they have a lot of components that support their digital or their retail environment. That's what cyber and IT is. So remove that misconception that you're only going to be working for a cyber IT firm. You can be working for Target, you can be working for Ross, for Walmart, for Walgreens, for Raytheon. You can be working for all these different companies that are still impacted by cybersecurity. And so our goals is really to provide early on experiences in cyber where you can develop awareness of what a day-to-day looks like, right? We want to make sure that you get provided these opportunities so you can have an expanded role within the economy and with the workforce, right? We want to make sure that you know the importance of cybersecurity and your impact into making your communities and your businesses, supporting those businesses that are already contributing to the workforce, right? So we're putting you all into roles and into jobs at an earlier age that in turn are also helping out with supporting small and medium-sized businesses, which can be a lot of the businesses that probably your parents or family relative or friends are currently managing or they own. We also want to identify any students that have any relevant skills or interests in cybersecurity and IT. So if you go through our programs and you think, all right, this is something that I really want to consider for my future, then AZ Cyber, what we do is we find ways to connect you with mentors that are in the industry. We want to connect you with scholarships. We want to connect you with internship opportunities, just any way that we can help you grow your professional network and your educational path for you to understand exactly what it is that you want to do, right? That we want to make sure that you have a path forward and understand that even in that goal or in that plan for your future, there are many ways you can do what we call on-ramps and off-ramps, right? If you want to go straight into university right after graduating from high school, that's an on-ramp, but maybe halfway through you want to, or you do a community college, a 2-year, and then you go transfer to a university and then you start working. Sometimes people start working and then they go back to school. So then that's an off-ramp. There are many different paths that you can take and they're all fine. We provide you with the tools and resources of what that best looks like for you, but ultimately you have the decision to make your own choice of what you think is best for you. And we build relationships and coalitions with other organizations throughout the state and throughout the country, really, to make sure that we bring as many opportunities for you all. These are some of the key programs that we offer for students. We have a scholarship for graduating seniors that are looking to major into anything that is cyber related or IT related, or even if it's a related field. Even then, if you're a senior and you're graduating, you're wanting to use that money towards a certification or something that is somehow related to continuing and advancing your education in cybersecurity, we'll support the scholarship can be used towards that. So it's not necessarily towards tuition, but it's still towards advancing your cybersecurity and IT learning and education. Our mentorship program is you're connected with cyber professionals throughout the country, a lot of them in Arizona, but you get to meet with them and understand better what their journey has looked like. You'll find that in cyber and IT, no one's journey is exactly the same, which is great, because one piece of advice from me to you all today is what you think you want to do, or even what you go to school for, may not be exactly what you end up doing in your future. I'm certainly not doing what I majored for or what I thought I'd be doing since I went to college, but I'm glad I've ended up in this path somehow. And there's still some ways to connect, and to do something that is meaningful. But don't be discouraged if you feel like you're not doing what you thought you'd be doing for a long time. It's be open to trying on new careers, new experiences, new fields before you really decide this is what I want to do. And that's completely okay. And you'll find that through this mentorship program, being paired with industry professionals, you'll get to hear from their journeys, from what worked, what didn't work, and then start to develop your own understanding of what it is that you maybe want to do and follow in their footsteps. Next, the Cyber Bootcamp, which I'll go into a little bit more the next slide, actually, because this can be a good opportunity for many of you that are listening right now to get involved. But that's basically a 1-week boot camp where we teach an introduction to cybersecurity fundamentals for high school students. So if you're a freshman now or a senior, even if you're graduating this summer, we still accept you. Or if you're an 8th grader now, but will be a freshman next year in the fall, we offer programs in the summer where you're eligible to participate, because technically you're no longer an 8th grader, you're soon to be a freshman in high school. And then lastly, the internship program. I mentioned this briefly, but this is our way of providing real work opportunities and connect students, high school students, through a virtual platform in which you can be supporting small and medium-sized businesses, augmenting their IT portfolio. You're earning resume opportunities, you're getting paid. You can be doing anywhere between 50 to 100 hours of internship related activities, all supporting companies that really need the manpower, the labor, the support to grow their business. And you have a big hand into doing that. You're getting hands-on real work experience that is actually adding value and supporting the economy, the business, yourselves, your futures. And at the same time, you're getting an insight into what will be expected of you in any job or in many jobs for your future. So these are some of I just wanted to include some pictures so you can see what this experience is like, right? We have students breaking down machines, they're hacking one another, they're learning about cybersecurity, they're having fun, they become friends, they have group activities. So we help you get out of your comfort zone and start getting a little bit more comfortable with public speaking as well, as that's a very important life skill for you to start practicing as early as now, really. It's never too late, and it's a in-demand skill. But you'll meet great friends, you'll build great networks. Even if you don't know anything about cybersecurity or you don't think yourself as a technical person, that's completely okay. This experience is meant to be a very, very much an introduction, and doesn't require for you to think of yourself as a technical person. There are many assets or parts of cybersecurity that are more strategic, more management, that just require very different critical thinking or problem solving skills that someone who is actually doing perhaps the hacking, right? And they're all great. One common theme amongst all of them is that there's a lot of teamwork. A lot of teamwork involved, a lot of communication, and that's what we aim to bring some of those skills and experiences into the classroom or into our bootcamp and program experience. The program that I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about is our Cyber Bootcamp. And that's a week-long cyber learning experience that it's all in person. We'll have some this summer, but the great part is that, and this is why I wanted to present it to everyone, through partnerships that we've been able to cultivate and have with other nonprofits in the state, you get a $250 stipend upon completion of this program. So for a week from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., we have several boot camps in several locations throughout the state. Some in Tucson, one in Nogales, one in Phoenix, and there's one that's going to be hybrid. So say if you can't make it to any of the locations in person, you'll be able to attend virtually if you choose to do so. We have limited seats, so our application will be out next week. Be on the lookout for that. I'll have more information at the end. But during this time, you won't just get to learn about cybersecurity. You'll also hear from industry professionals, from different speakers every day, just to learn about their background. You'll be able to ask questions, and some of these people that are speakers have been executives in their companies, right? They may be leading companies with tens of thousands of employees, and they're working in their security space. So being able to tap into that person's mind, into their experience, and ask them questions all through this experience, that can be very valuable, right? That can actually shape your future. Sometimes they provide recommendations of books, podcasts, magazines, websites that they use that helps them continue to learn. Because cybersecurity and IT is a growing field that you're always going to be learning something new. So if you think you get bored with repetition, you want something that's exciting, something that's constantly changing and challenging yourself, this can be a great industry for that. And that's what I love about it, that I don't get bored. There's always something new to learn. It keeps me on my toes, and it also forces me to step out of my comfort zone, right? In many ways. So that's what the bootcamp does. And from following the beginner, this 1 week bootcamp that you see on the screen, that's when you can start getting more involved with we'll have an intermediate bootcamp as well, following, that you can participate in next summer. And we also offer fall and spring break bootcamp. So if you're on fall break, you can do a virtual bootcamp, and very similar experience, but it's online. Same thing in the spring. In the summers, when we do all of our in-person boot camps. But again, completing that gives you a $250 stipend. You're learning about a new skill that can be helpful for your future. You're connecting and building your network of cyber professionals in the industry that you can also add to your resume, perhaps get an internship and additional payment opportunities. And enough so that this can be a part-time or a full-time job at some point for many of you. I won't go through, I know I'm running close to time. So what I'll do is I'll just leave this slide. If you want to take a screenshot, that's my email, and that's also our website. You can learn more about the Cyber Bootcamp. You can learn more about our scholarship program, our mentorship opportunities, just all the programs that I went through and all the information. There's a lot more there. And feel free to reach out to me if you want to schedule a meeting, or be on the lookout for the summer schedule that will be coming out next week. Again, if you're hoping to register for that, make sure you're keeping close to date and be quick about registering, because they're offered on a first come, first serve basis, right? So if the classroom or if the session that you're looking to participate in is full, then we'll put you on the wait list. But some of these get full very quickly. I encourage you all to just be constantly checking. As soon as the registration is out there, put your information in and get that spot. It's an incredible opportunity for you to make a difference in your own lives and in your education, your career, because even if at the end of this week, you realize cyber or IT is not what I want to do, that's great. We're still helping you realize something that you don't really want to do. And now you don't have to go through maybe 4 years of undergrad or 2 years to realize that, right? And you're saving all those hundreds of thousands of dollars just by participating in this 1 week. And even then, you're somehow, this boot camp will be beneficial in a way that whatever you do next, you will be somehow connected to technology, and you'll be more careful and more aware of the things that you should and should not do when it comes to just being aware and being digitally and cyber aware and safe online. So Cindy, I think I'll stop sharing then. If there are any questions from the audience, we'll love to take those now.
You bet. So first of all, I just wanted to thank you so much. What a great presentation, and what a great opportunity for our students. I think this is a great experience for them, as you said, to really try out a skill or a talent that they might have in this industry. And hey, they get paid too. I didn't know that was a feature of your program. So
yeah, don't you wish we would have had this when we were in high school, right? I mean, to
Yeah,
be able to learn something
exactly.
and get paid. Yeah.
Yeah, no, such a fabulous experience. So
Yeah.
those of you that are watching today, I really hope that you do take advantage of that. So yeah, we do have a few questions for you. So just kind of thinking about, as founder and CEO of AZ Cyber, what was the biggest challenge of starting up this company?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. And I think the hardest part, it can be a scary thing to do, right? Often we join a team or a group or a company that's already been established for us, right? So then we don't have to think about the difficulties and challenges that it would take to start something new, even though we may have an idea. And I think it's easy to think, why would I do the more challenging route when there's something already there for me and I don't have to go through that scary piece? And I think being okay with being scared and not knowing exactly what that next step is going to look like, or often thinking, did I make the right choice? Am I doing the right decision? Or should I go back to what's comfortable and what's safe? I think that is probably the biggest challenge, right? Because I think naturally we want to go with what is easy and what is safe. So I encourage you all and hope that you never settle for the easy path. Sometimes consider what is challenging, but what can be exciting as well. Because knowing what I'm doing now, giving all of this up, I don't think, I would hate to know that everything that I'm doing through AZ Cyber could have not been here, right? I'm happy I took that risk. I'm happy I took that challenge, and I'm happy to be here, even if it was scary at the time.
Well, we're glad you did it too. And it is important to just, right?
Yeah.
And it's important to just push through those challenges.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen in any aspect of your life. So that's really great advice there. Whether you're starting your own business or just in college and pursuing a degree, whatever it might be, it's important to just keep pushing through. It's not always going to be easy. So
Exactly.
yep, great advice there. What was your experience leaving Arizona and then moving to a big city?
Ooh. So it was challenging. I remember I moved first from Arizona to Washington, D.C. And the first thing I thought is, I don't have any appropriate winter clothes, right? In Arizona, we know that it doesn't get very cold, but we have a lot of layers. In Arizona, you just start adding more layers the colder it gets, but you don't really have this one jacket that is good enough for the winter. And when you get to DC, or New York or East Coast where it gets really cold, unless you want to start walking around like a penguin because of how many layers you have, you have to buy one good jacket, right? So it's little things like that that are very different for people who are from Arizona. The culture is a little bit different. The working environment is a little different. People are just different. I think from DC, there's people from all over the world. Very few people are actually from DC, right? Same thing I lived in New York and I had that experience as well. Very few people are actually from New York. You mostly meet people from all over the world. So then you start learning about different cultures, different experiences, different backgrounds. And that's fascinating to be exposed to people that endured different challenges and overcame those obstacles and are succeeding or still working and crushing it. That's inspiring. It's a life-changing experience. It's also humbling because it makes you realize sometimes we think we have it bad, or when we're struggling, we think, why is the world against me right now? And then you hear from the stories and backgrounds from other people, and you think that's incredible and that's inspiring that they've gone through everything that they have done and experienced, yet they're still happy. They're positive, they're cheerful. I think that's been the best and biggest eye opener for me. So I encourage everyone listening. I don't want to advocate for leaving your families or leaving your communities, but I've left to DC, New York, and Florida, but I've still found ways to go back to Arizona and give back, right? And I think I've brought back a lot of the things that I've learned from living in those cities. And I think I've grown as a person as well. So I encourage you all to to consider that as part of your journey, but never forget where you're from, the people that have helped you get to where you are, and always find ways to help them as well, right? What I'm doing through AZ Cyber is not really for myself. It's honestly for your generation, for a generation after mine. And that's something that a high school teacher told me once. She's like, what you do or the kind of future that you want is you won't be doing it for yourself, but you'll be doing it for other people, for that next generation. So think about how you want to give back and help others. Always. Yeah.
I love that. And it got me thinking too that, you don't necessarily even have to leave your state, maybe just even venturing out and leaving the city, or just venturing out of your own community and getting to know others. So that's great advice, just getting out of your comfort zone and seeing where that takes you. And
exactly,
work, you can always go back. So
exactly, and
taking that chance.
Just want to add something on that, Cindy, as well, that cyber and IT is a very unique and great opportunity, that there's a lot of remote jobs, right? So I've worked with people, with teams when I was in Arizona, with teams that are in New York and Florida and DC, that are in California. And this is a very unique industry in that a lot of it, or I would say most of it, can be done online, with the occasional travel to whatever the company's site or wherever the client may be. But that still gives you the flexibility to be wherever you want, if you want to stay in Arizona and then have the occasional travel. This industry is very, it's very flexible in that way. And if that's something that's of interest to a lot of the students, I would encourage them to consider that for that reason as well.
Yeah, that's great. That's so true about that. So one last question. What resources would you recommend to students?
So I've become a bit podcast fan, and I cycle through podcasts that I start with one that is typically it provides a review of news for that day or for that morning, and then I move on to I like knowing what's happening in DC. So I go from a very general worldwide coverage of news, what's happening in that day, to a very DC or more so United States focused one. And then I go on to a cybersecurity one that gives updates on any new hacks, any new malware that's been identified, if any company has been hacked and some customer information has been compromised, then it kind of provides information and awareness into that. If Apple is releasing a new update on their phone, then it gives that information. And I think shortly thereafter, then I also follow a podcast that's a little bit more on fun facts. And they bring in speakers that have books. And that's actually how I pick up a lot of book recommendations. So I think my podcast, my resources, it's all into one, it's all within podcasts, but it gives me a good perspective of different areas of interest that I like. So one of them is Cyberwire Daily. I encourage you all to listen to that. The Economist is the one that I listen to, or the Intelligence by The Economist is the worldwide one, and the Daily Punch is a more DC focused. And then lastly, the Something You Should Know is the fun fact one. But find podcasts that are interested into what your future, right, your interests are. There's something out there, I'm sure, for everything that you may enjoy, may not enjoy. So explore and do research, and all those resources are free as well. And lastly, there's a link on our website. If the website that we showed at the end, there's a tab for resources that are related to cyber and IT and computer science engineering as well. They're all free. So make sure that you check them out. If you want to learn more about what this industry is, about anything that I've mentioned, go ahead and look at the website, because you can find a lot of free resources there.
That's great. And the great thing about podcasts is that we can listen to those while we're doing other activities, right? When we're going for a run or working out at the gym or whatever you might be doing, or doing homework, and you can be listening to that podcast. So for those of you who like to multitask.
Exactly.
That's great. And to our viewers, don't forget too that we will be uploading the PowerPoint from today's session. So you guys will have access to all that information by next week. And I wanted to thank Manny Felix for being here with us today. And then also to remind our students that any of our previous live webinars are available on the JA Inspire Auditorium when you click on the on-demand webinars tab, and you can view all of those as well as this one. So we really appreciate having everyone here today, and we hope to see you guys soon. And thank you again, Manny. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you to JA. Really appreciate it.
Sure. We appreciate it too. Take care.